Hello friends, welcome to Affairs Cloud Learn to Lead. Good morning to all the students, and today we will discuss 4th of December 2021 current affairs. But you can see two best images of the day, but today we will discuss very important and the most important current affairs, so watch this video till last. But I am requesting you all the students that you have to download our application Careers Cloud from the description box link. After that, log in with the email ID, then click on this crack current affairs section to subscribe our current affairs for 1 year as well as for 2 years. Both the subscription prices are very much low. But how we are covering this current affair? We are providing you daily section. In the daily, you will see three things. One is detail, second is question and answer format, and third is the quiz section which you can attempt on our application on daily basis. Next is the weekly section. Again, you will receive three things. One is detail, second is question and answer format, and third is the quiz section which you can attempt on our application on weekly basis. Most important section is the monthly, and we are providing four type of PDFs. One is detail, second is question and answer format, third is best 100 current affair, that is also provided in the form of question and answer, and fourth one is pocket PDF. It means 2-liners and the 3-liners current affair will be provided to you so that you can revise these current affairs in quick format before your exam. But to enhance your performance further, we are providing 20 most important topic wise PDF. It means if you want to cover one particular topic, then you can use this topic wise PDF. If you are a banking student, we are providing three things. One is detail, second is question and answer format, and third is the quiz section. But all these three things are only related to banking and economy. And you can attempt this quiz only on our application on monthly basis. If you want to cover all the past current affair of 2021 just from single PDF, then you can use this exam PDF. We are providing detailed budget and economic survey. Expected question and answer will be provided to you so that you can recall that examiner can make these type of questions from budget and economic survey. If you are appearing for your respective state exam, then we are also providing you state current affair, and we are covering every state and union territory. So all these things comes under only one subscription. You have to just download our application Careers Cloud from the description box link. After that, log in with the email ID, then click on this crack current affair section to subscribe our current affairs for 1 year as well as for 2 years. Both the subscription prices are very much low. But if you are a new student, you are just starting your preparation, then I am advising you to subscribe for 2 years. And we are providing 10% extra discount on both subscriptions if you use this code ASH10. And if you have any query, you can email us or you can call us on this number or email ID. So let's start 4th of December 2021 current affairs. But first of all, you have to like this video, you have to share this video as maximum as possible, and please subscribe this channel if you're new on this platform, and join our Telegram group from the description box link. Here is the first question in the most important section. Who is appointed as the new International Monetary Fund first Deputy Managing Director? So again, the important keyword here is International Monetary Fund Organization, and she is the first Deputy Managing Director. So answer of this question is Geeta Gopinath. Very important. So answer of this question is C. So she is an Indian American and the first female chief economist of the International Monetary Fund. Geeta Gopinath is promoted as the IMF first Deputy Managing Director, serving under IMF Chief Kristalina Georgieva. So you have to remember, currently IMF Chief is Kristalina Georgieva, and she will succeed the first Deputy Managing Director. Earlier this position goes to Geoffrey. So you can just remember the former was Geoffrey, and now it is Geeta Gopinath. And Geeta Gopinath belongs to Kerala. So because we are talking about that she is an Indian American, so you have to remember that she was born in Kerala, and she has been serving as the chief economist of the IMF since 2019. And in that role, she is the director of International Monetary Fund Research Department as well as the economic counselor of the fund. But the most important here, first Deputy Managing Director, Geeta Gopinath. You can also see here the picture of Geeta Gopinath, who was the chief economist of International Monetary Fund, promoted as the first Deputy Managing Director. But you can also remember the other options here. Like first, you can see here, the first option is Morinari Watanabe. So recently appointed as the president of International Gymnastic Federation. Remember, International Gymnastic Federation president is Morinari Watanabe. And C.S. Venkatakrishnan. C.S. Venkatakrishnan recently becomes the new CEO of Barclays. Very important organization all over the world, Barclays Financial Organization. And C.S. Venkatakrishnan become the CEO of this organization. Arun Chawla, again very important position, new Director General of Industry Chamber, that is Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. It means I am talking about FICCI. So new Director General of this Industry Chamber, which is known as FICCI, and new Director General is Arun Chawla. So all the important positions here, you have to remember all the four options. But the most important here is Geeta Gopinath. Moving to next question. who has been conferred with the prestigious Assam Vaibhav 2021 award. Again, it is most important question because we are talking about the highest civilian award of the Assam government, which is known as Assam Vaibhav. And answer of this question is Ratan Tata. So D is the answer. You can also see here the picture of Ratan Tata. Assam government decided to confer Assam Vaibhav award to industrialist Ratan Tata. And Ratan Tata is currently the chairman of Tata Trust. You can also remember. And this award is basically goes for the contributing towards the cancer care services in the Assam. And Tata Trust established a 3-level cancer care grid at the state, capital and the district level. And this trust invested in the project worth rupees 1400 crore rupees. And under this project, South Asian Cancer Research Center is proposed to be set up in the state of Assam. And it will enable research and development on identifying reasons for the cancer and the development treatment protocols with the focus of the South Asia. And you can also remember it is the highest civilian award of the Assam. And recently Assam government changed some name of their awards, like you can say Assam Ratna or Assam Ratna. This award was basically renamed as Assam Vaibhav. This is the highest civilian award of Assam. Next is Assam Vibhushan. Earlier this was known as Assam Vibhushan, but now it is known as Assam Saurav. And next is Assam Bhushan and Assam Shri, known as Assam Gaurav. So Vaibhav, Saurav and Gaurav. So it is like Bharat Ratna, Padam Vibhushan, Padam Shri. So it is like Assam Ratan, Assam Vibhushan, Assam Bhushan, Assam Shri. So Assam Ratan will become Assam Vaibhav, Assam Vibhushan become Assam Saurav, and Assam Bhushan and Assam Shri will become Assam Gaurav. So these are basically the new name of these awards related to Assam state government. So just remember these names. You can also see here the first name is Vihan and Nav Agarwal, the brother, and both brothers basically won 17th annual Kids Right International Children Peace Prize for the recycling household waste and tackling, or you can say household waste and tackling pollution. So you have to remember 17th annual Kids International Children Peace Prize. M. Mukundan, again very important name, recently won 2021 JCB Prize for Literature, specially for his book titled Delhi. Next is Priyanka Mohite, recently won Tenzing Norgay National Adventure Award of 2020. Again, all the awards are very, very important, especially this Vihan and Nav Agarwal, 17th Annual Kids Rights International Children Peace Prize for the recycling household waste and tackling pollution. Moving to next question. Who has been awarded UNESCO's Asia Pacific Awards for Cultural Heritage Conservation 2021? Again, very important award because it is related to UNESCO, and it is UNESCO's Asia Pacific Award, and it is for the Cultural Heritage Conservation of 2021. And this award goes to Nizamuddin Basti of New Delhi, or you can say Delhi. So answer of this question is C. So Nizamuddin Revival Project, which is India's project on the holistic urban revitalization of the historic Nizamuddin Basti community in the New Delhi, has won the UNESCO Asia Pacific Award for Cultural Heritage and Conservation for 2021. And you can see here Nizamuddin Basti project wins 2 UNESCO Heritage Awards, and these 2 awards won under the 2 categories. One is for the Award for Excellence and second is Special Recognition for the Sustainable Development. And you can also remember the Nizamuddin Basti project was overcome the major socio-economic challenges and improved health, education and well-being, particularly for women and the youth, through an innovative people-public-private partnership model. And the settlement around the tomb of noted Sufi saint Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia ji, who settled in a Delhi village, Gyaspur, located on a tributary of river Yamuna, is also known as Hazrat Nizamuddin Basti. And the urban renewal project started in the year of 2007 and was undertaken by the Aga Khan Trust for Culture in partnership with the, you can say, Municipal Corporation of the South Delhi, Archaeological Survey of India, Delhi Urban Heritage Foundation and Dargah Committee, and the resident group of the Hazrat Nizamuddin Basti. So you have to remember this award goes to Nizamuddin Basti. And you can also remember about this award, UNESCO Asia Pacific Award, especially for the cultural heritage conservation. So the UNESCO Asia Pacific Award for Cultural Heritage Conservation is annually presented to acknowledge exemplary efforts by individuals or any organization like NGO, any government organization, to restore or conserve structures, places, properties of the heritage value in the region. And since 2000, by the establishment of this award, it was recognized to 275 winners from 22 countries, and the award winning projects will receive one bronze plaque and certificate of the recognition. So just remember, Nizamuddin Basti awarded UNESCO Asia Pacific Award, and Nizamuddin Basti awarded under the two categories. One is for the award for excellence and second is the special recognition for sustainable development. Moving to next question. Which country is set to get the world's first floating city by 2025? Again, most important question because it is world's first floating city, and answer of this question is South Korea, but it will be established by the year of 2025. So South Korea is set to get world first floating city, and this is a joint effort of two organizations. One is you can say Oceanics, and second is United Nations Human Settlement Program, which is also known as United Nations Habitat. And in November 2021, especially Busan Metropolitan City, of the Republic of Korea, United Nations Habitat, and the New York designer company, which is known as Oceanics, signed an agreement to build the world's first sustainable floating city. And the floating city will be developed on the coast of Busan, South Korea, to tackle the problem of rising sea levels. And the floating city is designed to withstand natural disasters including floods, tsunamis, and category 5 hurricanes, as its floating platform will be anchored to the sea floor. And the city will be spread across an area of more than 75 hectares and will be able to accommodate almost 10,000 residents. And this is the flood proof infrastructure, and it will have several man-made islands aiming to eliminate the risk of flooding by rising with the sea. So it is designed in a way that it will grow, transform, and adapt organically over the course of time, evolving from neighborhoods to villages to cities. So just remember, this is South Korea, and South Korea's president is Moon Jae-in, and capital is Seoul. I think all the students know, and currency is South Korean won. Moving to next section. Last question in the most important section. Who is appointed as the chairman of the National Asset Reconstruction Company? Again, very important organization which was established by the Ministry of Finance and also known as Bad Bank. This organization is also known as Bad Bank. It is just to recover the NPA. So that's why this organization was created. And who is appointed recently as the chairman of National Asset Reconstruction Company? So answer of this question is basically, you can see here, Pradeep Shah. C is the answer. So remember, the founder of Ind-Asia Fund Advisor, Pradeep Shah, appointed as the chairman of National Asset Reconstruction Company Limited. So you can also remember one important person here, Padam Kumar Nair, the Chief General Manager of SBI, former Chief General Manager of SBI, Padam Kumar Nair, was appointed as the Managing Director of NARCL in May 2021 when it was established. So the first chairman of this organization was Padam Kumar Nair, but now he was replaced with the Pradeep Shah. So again, there is one important organization which is known as IDRCL. You can also remember this organization because this organization is a service company or operational entity which will manage the asset and engage market professional and turnaround experts. So you can see here Sanjay Jain, who is appointed as the Chief Executive Officer of this India Debt Resolution Company, which is known as IDRCL. So you have to remember. And Diwakar Gupta, the former Managing Director of State Bank of India, also appointed as the Chairman of IDRCL. So one organization, again important, IDRCL, two positions, one is CEO, second is Managing Director. Managing Director is Diwakar Gupta and CEO is Sanjay Jain. So again, you have to remember this organization, very important, because this is owned by public sector banks and the public financial institution, and the public sector banks and the public financial institution will hold a maximum of 49% stake, while the remaining stake is basically will be under the private sector banks. So just remember IDRCL and NARCL. And first chairman of NARCL is Padam Kumar Nair. Now it is Pradeep Shah. Most important question. Moving to next section, and it is our very important question section, but you have to like this video, share this video, and please subscribe this channel and join a Telegram group from the description box link. Here is the question. Indian Army has received the advanced Heron drones from which country? Again, you have to remember the keyword. Keyword here is Heron drones. And answer of this question is Israel. C is the answer. So the Indian Army has received this advanced Heron drones from Israel to boost the army surveillance capabilities. So the drones will be deployed in the eastern Ladakh sector, and the drones were received under the emergency procurement clause to monitor the Chinese activities in the Ladakh sector, especially the eastern Ladakh sector. And the acquisition of drones under the emergency financial powers granted by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, led by the government to the defense forces. And under this powers, the defense can buy equipments and system worth rupees 500 crores to upgrade the war fighting capabilities. So this is emergency financial power which is granted by Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji to the defense forces, and under this power defense can buy equipment and system worth rupees 500 crore rupees under the emergency financial powers. So remember this Heron drone, and it is manufactured by Israel, and India received these drones. Moving to next question. Which state launched a web portal and mobile application named Hamar Apan Budget? It means our new budget, or you can say it is our budget. So just remember, this application or web portal is basically launched by Hemant Soren. It means I am talking about the state of Jharkhand. So Jharkhand Chief Minister Hemant Soren launched a web portal named as Hamar Apan Budget and a mobile application prepared by the State Finance Department. So you can also see here the picture of Hemant Soren launched Hamar Apan Budget and a mobile application. So what is the role of this mobile application or this portal? So through this portal, general public the people of Jharkhand can share their suggestion for the budget of 2022-23 budget. So just remember, public can share their suggestions for the 2022-23 budget, and the public can give suggestions through Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp and email, and also through this application by downloading the Hamar Budget from Google Play Store or from Android phones. So just remember, this is just for getting the suggestions from the public, and name is Hamar Apan Budget. So you know the Chief Minister is Hemant Soren. Moving to next question. Which state government appointed Salman Khan as COVID vaccination ambassador? Again, one-liner question. Just remember the question as same as in slide, and answer of this question is Maharashtra. So C is the answer. So the Maharashtra government has appointed veteran Bollywood actor Salman Khan as the COVID vaccination ambassador of the state with an intent to tackle the vaccine hesitancy among the Muslim-dominated areas of the Maharashtra and to encourage people to get both doses of the COVID vaccination. So it is just to mobilize for the mass vaccination. So especially when the new variant comes, so it is very, you can say, very much requirement of the state to vaccinate all the people of the state. So this is the state of Maharashtra. And remember, Chief Minister is Uddhav Thackeray ji, and Governor is Bhagat Singh Kishori ji. Bhagat Singh Kishori. Moving to next question. Which company signed a MOU with the Solar Energy Corporation of India, which is also known as SCCI, to enhance environment, social governance and projects? Just remember, this company signed an MOU with the SCCI to enhance the solar power, or you can say to enhance the renewable energy capacity of India. And this organization is ONGC. It means I am talking about Oil and Natural Gas Corporation of India. A is the answer. So you can see here ONGC inks pact with the SCCI to develop renewable and ESG project. What is the meaning of ESG? It means environment, social and governance project. And the MOU deals with the cooperation for undertaking renewable energy projects, especially you can say including solar, wind, solar parks, electric vehicles, value chain, green hydrogen and storage. Because ONGC has set a target of producing minimum of 10 gigawatt of renewable energy power by the year of 2040. So this is the target of ONGC and focuses on the exploration and production business. And Maharashtra ONGC is the largest crude oil and the natural gas company all over India. But you have to remember, ONGC target is to produce 10 gigawatt from the renewable energy only by the year of 2040. 2040. And you can also remember about this organization, Solar Energy Corporation of India. It is only the central public sector undertaking dedicated to only the solar energy sector, and it is under the administrative control of the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. And managing director of this organization is Suman Sharma, It was established in the year of 2011 and its headquarters is in New Delhi. Just remember this organization. Moving to next question. Which company has partnered with the PMS Bazaar to launch a portfolio management services marketplace? It means just to launch portfolio management services, this PMS Bazaar basically partnered with one company, and this one company is Paytm Money. So answer of this question is D. So you can see here, Paytm Money ties up with the startup for portfolio management scheme. And you can also see here, under this partnership, an expert from PMS Bazaar will connect with the investor who is requesting PMS on the Paytm Money. It means if you are requesting something like PMS, or you can say portfolio management services on the Paytm Money, then one investor or one advisor from the PMS Bazaar will advise you about the you can say portfolio management services. And the PMS will primarily focus on equities with 95% on the funds invested in large, mid and the small capital companies. And PMS Bazaar is a Mumbai-based PMS advisory startup that devises investment strategies, and in addition to gold, exchange traded funds and the debt or other asset classes. So you have to remember, they will initiate a discussion. After reaching a consensus on the strategy, a plan will be sent to the investor. And through this tie-up, the fee income that are arising out of the business proposition will be added to the Paytm Money. Because the customer belongs to Paytm Money, but they are getting advice from the PMS Bazaar. So the fees, or you can say the broking fees, is basically pays to the Paytm Money. So earlier Paytm Money has introduced a feature for users to apply in an initial public offer as an high net worth individual investor. So PMS Bazaar has already put in place more than 250 strategies. It will support the customer to select the right portfolio management services strategy based on the individual risk appetite and the investment goals. So just remember, and you can also remember what is portfolio management services. So it is a services offered by the portfolio manager, and it would lead to the investment in stocks, you can say fixed income, debt, cash, structured products and other individual securities managed by the portfolio manager to meet specific investment objective. But you have to remember about Paytm Money. Paytm Money operational headquarters is in Bengaluru, and its whole-time director and CEO is Varun Sridhar. Varun Sridhar. I am talking about Paytm Money, not about Paytm. Paytm headquarters is in Noida. Paytm headquarters is in Noida, not in Bengaluru. But Paytm Money headquarters is in Bengaluru. Moving to next question. Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs extends timeline for the implementation of Smart Cities Mission to Dash. So Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs extended this timeline till the time period of the June 2023. So answer of this question is B. So it is for the implementation of the Smart Cities Mission. The tagline is here, and it is for all 100 participating smart cities to June 2023 due to the COVID-19 induced slowdown and the other factors. So you can see here, center extend timeline for the implementation of Smart Cities Mission to the June 2023. And the decision is also based on the recommendations of the Niti Aayog in the August 2021. And you can also remember, according to an earlier deadline, the cities were expected to complete all the projects within 5 years. Within 5 years, because this Smart Cities Mission was started in the year of 2015-16. So we have to achieve the target till the year of 2019-20. But due to, you can say, COVID-19 or other slowdown factors, we increase this time period to June 2023. It means now we have to complete all the projects till the year of June 2023. And the objective of the Smart City Mission is to promote cities providing core infrastructure, give a decent quality of life to their citizens, and a clean and sustainable environment through the application of the smart solutions. So just remember, it is Smart City Mission and total 100 cities are there. And these 100 cities have to complete their infrastructural targets with the timeline of the June 2023. Move to next question. India and which organization adopted Clean Energy and Climate Partnership for 2021 to 23? It means we are talking about again renewable energy and the clean energy resources. And this organization is European Union. And this time, this is the 9th India and European Union Energy Panel, which was held, and they adopted a Clean Energy Climate Partnership for 2021 to 23. So EU India Clean Energy Climate Partnership, and they adopt Clean Energy and Climate Partnership Work Program, again very important. And during this meeting, both sides agreed on a detailed work program from 2021 to 23 to implement the 2016 India EU Clean Energy Climate Partnership. And what is about this partnership? The Energy Panel agreed on increased technical cooperation in the area of energy efficiency, renewable energy, green hydrogen, grid integration, storage, power market design, interconnection, cold chain, sustainable financing, all things which are related to basically clean energy and climate. But you can also remember very important question recently we discussed that European Union also proposed plan to impose world's first carbon border tax. Carbon border tax from 2026. This will be implemented from the year of 2026 on imports, not on exports basically. Basically, it is on imports of carbon intensive goods including steel, cement, fertilizers and aluminium as a part of the program to meet its new climate target. And what is the new climate target of European Union? It is reducing emission by 55% from 1990 by 2030. So you have to remember reduce the carbon emission by the year of 2030, but they will compare by the level of 1990. So European Union headquarters is in Brussels. You can also remember headquarters is in Brussels. Total 27 member states are there, 24 official languages are there, and United Kingdom withdrew from the European Union in January 2020. Next question is, Ministry of Communication has unveiled the commemorative postage stamp to mark the 75th anniversary of which company or which group? So again, this is very important, and the Minister of State for Communication, Devu Singh Chauhan, remember, Devu Singh Chauhan, and he has unveiled the commemorative postage stamp to mark the 75th anniversary of Mahindra Group. So answer of this question is D. And he also urged the group to collaborate with the postal department to improve the delivery of the social services in the rural areas like Tata Group. And a very interesting fact about Mahindra Group. So I am just telling you 2 or 3 things. Just remember, earlier this company was named as Mahindra and Mohammed. Just remember, I think many students don't know this. Mahindra and Mohammed. It was founded by Kailash Chandra Mahindra and Jagdish Chandra Mahindra with the help of Malik Ghulam Muhammad. Malik Ghulam Muhammad in 1945. So that's why it is known as Mahindra and Mohammed. And the company started the steel trading business in association with the suppliers in the United Kingdom. But after the partition of India and Pakistan in 1947, Mahindra and Mohammed subsequently changed its name to Mahindra and Mahindra. So this is just a little bit interesting fact about the Mahindra Group. Now we are moving to next question. You can also see here the picture of Union Minister of State of Department of Communication or the Ministry of Communication, Devu Singh Chauhan. Released a commemorative stamp and 2 photos you can see here. This is basically the founder of Mahindra Group, which is Jagdish Chandra Mahindra and Kailash Chandra Mahindra. Next is Credit B. You have to remember Credit B is a financial technological leading platform, and they have partnered with whom to offer a fully digital cardless EMI at leading retail stores. And this you can say POS machine provider is M-Swipe. So answer of this question is C. So Credit B, a financial technological leading platform, partnered with the M-Swipe to offer fully digital cardless EMI or equated monthly installment at leading retail stores. So you can also remember under this cardless EMI, Credit B offers pay later options for the purchase of up to rupees 1 lakh, which can be converted into EMIs in the range of 3 to 12 months. It means if you have purchased something like for 75,000, then you can convert this 75,000 into EMIs, and you have to pay these EMIs within 3 to 12 months. And the main aim is to expand offline presence and enable purchases of more than rupees 5 crores per month. And under this partnership, the customer could shop from around 2 lakh merchant stores associated with M-Swipe, who have M-Swipe POS machines, along with 5 lakh retail stores that will partner with the Credit B across India by the end of 2022. It means the merchants who have partnered with the Credit B and also has M-Swipe, you can say this POS machine, then they can use this cardless EMI facility. And this feature is now very much available by all the POS machines or all the companies like Book Now, Pay Later. Options enable the customers to make instant purchases and help small business to increase their overall sale, because you can purchase now, but you have to pay later. So this is the feature. If you want to remember, you can remember about Credit B, but it is not so much important. Credit B headquarters is in Bengaluru. Only remember the headquarters, Bengaluru. And Emswise Technology was established in the year of 2011. Its headquarters is in Mumbai, and its founder and managing director is Manish Patel. Manish Patel. Next question is, which player became the first Indian to win the Malaysian Open Squash Championship 2021? Just remember the question from the slide. And answer of this question is Saurav Ghoshal or Saurav Ghosal, but the name is Saurav Ghoshal. So just remember, answer of this question is B. So you can see here, Saurav Ghoshal ranked 15th in the world, became the first Indian to win the Malaysian Open Squash Championship, and its final was basically held in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and he defeated a Colombian player. And Malaysia's Aifa Azman won the women's singles title of the 2021 Malaysian Open Squash Championship. And this Malaysian Open Squash Championship 2021 was held from 23rd of November to 27th of November 2021. Just remember, Saurav Ghoshal, and he became the first Indian player who won the Malaysian Open Squash Championship 2021. And in the women category, it is Aifa Azman, but she belongs to Malaysia. Next is, which company launched India's first ever Nifty Alpha 50 exchange traded fund? So you have to remember the keyword here is Nifty Alpha 50 exchange traded fund or ETF. And this company is Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company. Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company. And you can also remember, this company is also known as Kotak Mahindra Mutual Fund Company, launched India's first ever Nifty Alpha 50 exchange traded fund named as Kotak Nifty Alpha 50 ETF. So it is named as Nifty Alpha 50 ETF. And you can also remember this alpha word. This is very important. But first of all, you have to read this. Kotak Nifty Alpha 50 ETF is an open-ended scheme that will track the performance of 50 stocks listed with the National Stock Exchange with high alphas in the last 1 year. Now, what is the meaning of this alpha? So, alpha is also referred to as an assessed return, which measures the return earned by the stock above or below demanded by the market for its risk class. So, this is just to track the 50 stocks listed in the National Stock Exchange with the high alphas in the last 1 year. It means you can say high return earned by the stocks. And the diversified stocks in the ETF will be based on the Kotak's well-defined strategy, which benefits investors for the long term and becomes a tool of balanced investors' active portfolios. And the companies are selected from the top 300 companies by average free float market capitalization and average daily turnover for the last 6 months. It means they will track all the company financial situation of last 6 months, and they will track the 300 companies, and out of 300 companies, they will track the 50 most important stocks of these 300 companies. So this is important, and that's why this investment become very much safe. So that's why they launched a Nifty Alpha 50 exchange traded fund, and it is also known as Kotak Nifty Alpha 50. And you can also remember Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company. It is a fully owned subsidiary of Kotak Mahindra Bank, and it is an asset manager for Kotak Mahindra Mutual Fund. But you can also remember about Kotak Mahindra Bank here. It was founded in 1985, but it started its operation in 2003 or 4. And MD and CEO is Uday Kotak, and headquarters is in Mumbai, and tagline is "Let's make money simple." Let's make money simple. So answer of this question is C. Next question is from picture, but it is not so much important. IREDA and THDCIL. So it means I am talking about a very important company of Indian government, Indian Renewable Energy Development Agency, and second is basically THDC India Limited to provide financial and technological support to development renewable energy project. Again, we are talking about renewable energy projects, and it is for the green energy collaboration. Previously, IREDA, I have to change the color so that you can see here. IREDA has signed MOU with Satluj Jal Vidut Nigam Limited, NHPC Limited, Tamil Nadu Generation and Distribution Corporation, which is known as TANGEDCO, TANGEDCO, and Northeastern Electric Power Corporation, and to offer consultancy services for the developers of the renewable energy and energy transition. It means IREDA will provide financial support as well as guidance to these companies so that they can generate the green energy, or they can move forward for generation of the green energy, because there is very much need of generation of green energy due to climate change, or the you can say greenhouse gases increasing. And by 2022 we have to achieve 175 gigawatt target, and 2030 we have to achieve 450 gigawatt of renewable energy target. So this is we have to achieve. And remember about this organization, Indian Renewable Energy Development Agency. Its chairman and managing director is Pradeep Kumar Das. Pradeep Kumar Das. And its headquarters is in New Delhi. Don't remember about THDC India Limited. Next, we are moving to important question section, but first of all, you have to like this video, you have to share this video as maximum as possible, and please subscribe this channel and join a Telegram group from the description box link. Here is the question: which company and the Indian Army signed a contract for a refurbishment of the IGLA or the IGLA 1M missiles? And this company is Bharat Dynamics Limited. So answer of this question is D. So this contract is worth rupees 471.41 crore, or you can just remember it is almost about 470 crore rupees. And after the refurbishment, the missile will get a fresh lease life of 10 years. That means the time period can be extended by 10 years after the refurbishment. And you can also remember about this missile, IGLA 1M missile. So it is introduced by the Soviet Union in 1986. And this IGLA 1M is an improved version of IGLA man portable missile system. And this IGLA is very specific missile because it is a fire and forget missile. It is a man portable missile, and it is a shoulder launched short range surface to air missile. Surface to air missile to engage low flying fixed and rotatory wing aircraft and cruise missile, especially the drones. And remember about Bharat Dynamics Limited, its headquarters is in Hyderabad, and its chairman and managing director is Siddharth Mishra. Siddharth Mishra. So you can also see here the contract cost is 471.41 crore. Now moving to one-liner important point. Here is the first point: RailTel and Common Service Center, or the you can say e-governance services of the central government, signed an MOU to increase the broadband penetration. Again, just read this line. And they want to increase the broadband penetration in the rural and the semi-urban areas for minimizing the digital divide. And RailTel is one of the largest neutral telecom services and information communication technology solution provided in India. And this common service centers of e-governance helps in linking the rural penetration with the host of e-governance services for the digital inclusion. So now we are moving to next. India achieves target of 40% power generation capacity from the non-fossil fuel sources. So India achieves this target of 40% power generation capacity. This is a good thing. And this is almost 156.83 gigawatt from non-fossil fuel sources in November 2021. This is total much of energy which India achieved from the non-fossil fuel sources. Now India installed renewable energy capacity stands for 150 gigawatt, almost 150 gigawatt, while its nuclear energy based installed capacity is almost 6.78 gigawatt. So according to the government, installed power capacity from the non-fossil fuel is up to 66% by the year of 2030. We have to achieve 66%. We are now on 40%. So India has already reached an emission reduction of 28%. So India achieved so many targets about clean energy. So remember this. Now we are moving to next question. DBS Research devised India's GDP growth forecast in financial year 23 to 7%. Earlier, they predicted like 6%, but now they increase India's GDP growth to 7%. But it is for financial year 23. For financial year 22, they predicted 6.5%. Next is Asian Development Bank got rupees 15 crore grant from the JFPR. What is the meaning of this JFPR? It means Japan Fund for Poverty Reduction to improve urban primary and healthcare in India. So Asian Development got this 15 crore rupees from Japan Fund for the Poverty Reduction, and this fund will be used to enhance the urban primary healthcare uses across India. And the main objective is to strengthen the comprehensive primary health system in the urban areas across India. But you can also remember about Asian Development Bank. It was established in 1966. Its headquarters is in Manila, Philippines, and its member countries are 68, including India. And you can also remember the president is Mast Sugu. Mast Sugu. Next, again, Asian Development Bank approves $500 million loan to improve the quality of school education in India. So this is Asian Development Bank who gets the grant of 15 crore from this Japan Fund of Poverty Reduction. But now this is Asian Development Bank who approved $500 million loan to improve the quality education in India. So again, very important, and it is to improve the quality of Indian school education and mitigate the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the student learning. So it means Asian Development Bank supports the Samagar Shiksha or the Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, an integrated scheme for the school education and the newly exemplar school initiative of the Ministry of Education. Next is International Day of Persons with Disability 2021, observed on 3rd of December. So This is celebrated by United Nations, and it is to create awareness about the situation of persons with disabilities in every aspect of political, social, economical, and the cultural life. So this day aims to promote the rights and well-being of the persons with disability in all spheres of the society and development. And the theme is leadership and participation of persons with disability toward an inclusive, accessible, and sustainable post-COVID-19 world. Examiner will not ask about this theme because this is so much lengthy, but you have to remember this International Day of Disabled Person is observed on 3rd of December. Now we are moving to the question of 3rd of December 2021. Question was very simple. Which of the following is the name of IDBI's mobile application? So very simple question and very simple answer. Answer of this question is Go Mobile. So it is a static question. Just remember, Industrial Development Bank of India's mobile application is Go Mobile. Now we are moving to the question of the day. Question of the day: when were the Basel III or the Basel III guidelines released? So this is Bank for International Settlement, Basel 1, 2, and 3. This is the third guideline. So I am talking about when these guidelines were released. So you have to tell me answer only in the comment box. I am waiting your answer. Please like this video, share this video as maximum as possible, and please subscribe this channel if you're new on this platform. And you can join a Telegram group and press this bell button for the official notifications. And it is Affairs Cloud. Promise that it will boost your confidence in the general awareness section. Definitely. Don't take life so much serious. Life is fun. Always be happy. Always be happy. Thank you guys. Take care and bye bye.